I don't really study specific people. What I try to do is I try to look at different people's opinions on certain ideas. So, for example, I was trying to learn more about what the circular economy is. So I just went on Google, I searched circular economy, and I found different sources for the circular economy. The way that I see it, I think everybody deserves time. I think everybody deserves to be, I think everybody deserves to have a voice in this because everybody has their own experience. Right. Let's say, for example, your podcast. I only came across you maybe a couple months ago, maybe 3 months ago. I don't know. I don't know how long ago it was, but the reason why I don't specifically study individuals like Michael Saylor is great and all, but I don't stick to Michael Saylor. The reason why I study different individuals is because I want different experiences. I want different people's ideas. Different people have gone through life in a different way. For example, you played hockey. Me and we can relate in certain ways because I play hockey. I know how you think. I know how you think as an athlete. So I know for a fact that you're probably thinking two, three, 5 steps ahead. You're skating to where the puck is going to be, as Wayne Gretzky has said. So everybody has their own way of thinking. Everybody has their own beliefs of where the world is going. And even if I hate somebody, even if I hate somebody's thoughts, even if somebody's an XRP person, I'm still going to listen to them because I think that everybody has some kind of value that they can add. So the people that I like to listen to, I like Andreas Antonopoulos because he really puts things into very simple terms. I like Michael Saylor. His are more complicated. The only issue with these two is that sometimes they know so much that I can't understand what they're saying. So I like also listening to people who have a very basic understanding. Right there's quite a few podcasts on YouTube that just keep getting better and better. They keep bringing better and better guests on there. Yours, for example. So if anybody's watching this, subscribe to Brandon. He's putting out really great content. I really appreciate everything that you're doing. But the main point here is that I think that if you're only studying from one person, you're kind of limiting yourself.
I love that. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the triangulating truth,
Yes.
right? Like it's so, I love that. I absolutely love that you said that and took that question that way. Better than I could have even phrased it. What were some of your aha moments? And I can't remember now if we touched on, I think we danced around this a little bit, but I know you're listening to Sailor, some different stuff like that over the last handful of years, like during the lockdown time, stuff like that. What were some of the aha moments where you're just like, wow, like this is the game changer. This is like making everything make sense for me now.
The biggest aha moment was I think the first 5 or 6 chapters of the Bitcoin Standard, because the book is called the Bitcoin Standard, but he doesn't touch on Bitcoin until like 7, 8 chapters in. To me, that was crazy because I was this I was thinking that Bitcoin is just this thing that it's a technology. You need to understand this technology. I didn't really see that there are so many parallels to the real world with Bitcoin. Before everybody studies Bitcoin, they're not going to see the parallels. But what Saifedean does is he clearly shows you why Bitcoin is better money compared to the other forms of money that we've ever had. Before his book, I hadn't really seen it that way. I hadn't really even thought of it that way. After I started reading his book, after I got into it, after actually not reading, I listened to audiobooks. After I listened to his audiobook, it changed my perspective. It made me think gold has been around for thousands of years, and now this thing can potentially compete with gold. And that's just massive. I hadn't made that connection before. I also mentioned the real estate video that I watched. Before that, I hadn't really thought of how broken the financial system is. I hadn't really thought of how the financial system is designed to keep real estate investors wealthy, to keep the people who have wealth today, to keep them getting wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. I don't know if it's designed that way, but it's certainly been the outcome. Whatever they've designed it with, whatever intention they had when they were designing it, that's been the outcome. The outcome has been this wealth gap, and it's getting worse and worse, and it's going to continue to get worse. It's going to continue to make the poor poorer, and there's literally nothing that the poor can do about it unless they adopt Bitcoin.
It's so funny you said that because I was just talking to my wife about this thing about like people. This is where conspiracy theories, partly where conspiracy theories come in, where it's like everyone at every level of bastardization in the economy. It's like, oh, someone must have done this here, had some ulterior motive, and that's why this part doesn't work. And it's funny because when you look at like the oil spill at the top of the river, like when you're downstream and you're like trying to like sift things out of the river and like the river's all muddy, you can't visibly see the oil spill at the top of the river, like the root source of the problem. You like humans just like look around to find like, oh, it's their fault. They're like, oh, it's that guy's fault. This fisherman over there must have like done something to the river, and they can't see 10 miles up the river. And so, and we talked about this earlier about getting away from truth. Like the further you get away and more layers of lies you put in between yourself and the truth, it's this world where I think it was just like a bunch of central banking family. It was like people who wanted power, right? And they're like, how can we control people? Or like, how can we just hold power for ourselves? But then when like you make that huge decision, that society chooses that leap of like, hey, we're going to the dark side here. It just like spirals on the slippery slope out of control further and further. And everything aligns in a bad way, incentivizes a worse way. But you could have chosen the good way in the binary road. And all those things start spiraling the good way. The incentives like build on each other that way. And the snowball rolls both directions down the hill in each way.
Yeah.
And I'm mixing analogies here together, but it's like, because for a long time, again, I was like, oh, this, they must have done this intentionally. And like all these downstream effects, they just happen by the incentive. Like it's just, a lot of people didn't think of it. So I love that you brought that up, because it's one of those things I think a lot of Bitcoiners think about. And we tend to get into like these conspiratorial things where it's like, no, we just chose to like break the money. And then the snowball just kept rolling down the hill the wrong direction, picking up speed and gaining snow. So just dumber and dumber things happen because we made the ultimate poor decision up top here. So I love that you said that.
Yeah, I don't even think it was intentional, to be honest. I don't think they tried to say that, oh, we're going to ruin these people's lives. That wasn't the goal. I think it just happened because that's just how things work. If you have a broken financial system, you're going to fund people who understand it. You're going to fund the people who have bad intentions. Like, the people who, let's say, for example, Dave Ramsey.
The system is designed that way. Yeah.
Right. Like Dave Ramsey, for example, he owns, in his own words, he owns thousands of rental properties. He says, I can increase the rent whenever I want to. I can increase my cash flow. Why does he need to do that? He doesn't need to, regardless of what happens. And that's what people think that capitalism is. People think that capitalism is just a way for people to make more money. But no, that's not what it is. We've kind of destroyed capitalism by having this fake form of money. There is no capitalism. It's just people who are able to borrow money out of thin air that's created out of nothing. They're the ones who get ahead. And that's just how the system is designed. The system is designed to work this way because that's just how it works. We've created a system where we think that we should be able to correct where the economic system is going. We should be able to correct the economy. If there's a downside, we should be able to fix it. If there's something that we don't like, we should be able to throw more money at it and fix it. We should be able to, if somebody has feelings about something that something should happen, we want to help them. We want to make sure that their feelings are never hurt. And that's really it. We don't do things based on facts. We do things based on feelings now. And again, that's a result of this fake money. If this fake money if we couldn't have fake money, if we couldn't make money out of nothing, we couldn't do all of those things. I think we would look at the world more logically rather than emotionally if the money wasn't broken.
If you like that clip, then you definitely got to check out this next spicy clip. I think you're really going to like it. Come on, check it out. But if you want the full version, the full interview, then check that out over here. Come on, do it. I'll see you in there.